Tomorrow. That's Channel 2 News at 6. I'm Michelle Marsh.
And I'm Ernie Anastas. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung is next. Dana Tyler and I will be back tonight at 11. See you then.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Dan is off tonight. One of the longest gun battles this country has ever seen is finally over tonight. The Senate has given final congressional approval to the Brady gun control bill. It's another notch in President Clinton's belt. But as White House correspondent Rita Braver reports, he's sharing the credit.
In the Oval Office, President Clinton made it clear that the day and the victory belonged to James and Sarah Brady.
If this is the beginning of what I think it is, then the entire nation owes Jim and Sarah Brady even more than for the Brady bill. They have changed the focus of our nation.
The Bradys became gun control crusaders through personal tragedy. John Hinckley's 1981 assassination attempt on President Reagan left Brady, then White House press secretary, severely disabled. The ease with which Hinckley got the gun inspired the Bradys to join the gun control lobby. But until today, despite mounting gun-related crime, the pro-gun side, led by the National Rifle Association, always triumphed. Finally, the sheer force of public demand forced Congress to pass a law that requires a 5-day waiting period before handguns can be purchased.
Is there objection? Hearing none, the request is granted and the Brady bill is passed.
But the bill only extends over the next few years, and the NRA insists that waiting periods haven't worked in states that already have them.
They don't work. They are the highest crime states in the country. So we'll have to live with a useless law for 4 years, possibly 5.
Even the White House acknowledges that gun control alone does not mean crime control. But the president was happy and emotional as he congratulated the Bradys. What was Jim Brady's take?
Will this totally end carnage on the street? I don't think so. But even the longest journey begins with a single step. And this is, I mean, why was it so damn difficult to take this single step?
And the passage of the Brady bill means another challenge for President Clinton, because now the public will be expecting at least some drop in crime. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
In England, a country generally not used to violent crime, a verdict tonight in a trial that attracted worldwide attention. Testimony in the case was so graphic, the parents of the victim had to stay away for much of the trial. 2 11-year-old boys were convicted of murdering a 2-year-old after luring him away from a shopping mall. Correspondent Mark Phillips reports on the crime and the punishment.
The verdict was guilty of murder. The judge called it an act of unparalleled evil and brutality. And 2 11-year-old murderers were driven off tonight to indefinite detention, held, as the phrase goes here, at Her Majesty's pleasure. But none of that would bring back 2-year-old James Bulger, who the 2 boys had tortured and killed, and nothing would vent the grief and fury that is still felt here.
I think it's an awful thing. Bastards. Pure and simple bastards. It's all sad from start to finish.
This is the unlikely face of one of the murderers, Robert Thompson, 10 years old at the time. He and the other 10-year-old boy had lured little James Bulger away from his mother in a shopping mall in an abduction captured by a security camera. They had dragged him through the mall. They had tried to throw him into a canal. They had dragged him 2.5 miles across town, captured by another security camera. Along the way, at this intersection, on this street, in this pet store, they were seen and sometimes challenged by passers-by, but allowed to continue to this rail line where they repeatedly smashed little James's head with bricks and with this rail tie and left him dead on the tracks where a train later cut his body in 2. 2 10-year-old boys did this. More happened on this rail line than the senseless and tragic murder of an innocent 2-year-old little boy. The Jamie Bulger case has not only shocked and gripped Britain, it has forced it to concede that it is no longer the green, pleasant, and nonviolent land it used to think it was. That this, too, has now become a place where children can kill children. A place where, in the public housing projects where the boy murderers lived, parents now grip their children's hands more tightly and ask the question, how could this happen?
Where do they get the ideas? Oh, it's a multitude of things like the videos, television.
And where they rationalize.
But I think it's an offence that could have happened in any country in the world and in any city in the world.
We're all in it together.
Absolutely, I'm afraid so.
The parents of the murdered boy were in court today, but the verdict and even the baby they're now expecting won't heal the scars or bring back James. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Preston, England.
In this country, a stunning aftershock to the story of Kimberly Mays. She's the Florida teenager who sued to divorce her biological parents, Ernest and Regina Twigg, after learning she had been switched at birth with another baby in a hospital nursery. Now, in an exclusive interview, a nursery worker has told CBS News the baby switch was deliberate. Correspondent Cheryl Atkinson reports.
I know.
For the first time, someone directly involved with the care of the Twiggs and Mays babies claims the switch was no accident and was covered up.
It was intentional.
The two babies were born days apart in 1978. One was sick, the other healthy. Somehow they went home with the wrong mothers. The baby swap was revealed through medical tests 5 years ago, shortly before Arlena Twigg died of a heart defect. The Twiggs' frantic search for their true daughter led them to the little girl being raised by Bob Mays. In a bitter legal battle, a court ruled this summer that Kimberly does not have to visit her biological parents. 59-year-old Patsy Webb looked after the newborns at the hospital. In the past, she denied under oath that she knew of the swap. But now, critically ill, she says she wants to clear her conscience.
Dr. Palmer asked me to switch the bands on the baby and mother, and I refused. I told him that I wouldn't say anything.
She says somebody else had switched the baby's name tags the next day, and she says she heard Dr. Ernest Palmer and two other doctors discuss why the swap was made. They felt sorry for Barbara Mays, who'd been trying for 10 years to get pregnant and had terminal cancer.
They found that she was eat up with cancer, and they wanted her to have the good baby because she didn't have long to live.
Webb now says she lied when she then delivered the wrong baby to Mrs. Twiggs' room.
She said, "This don't look like my baby." I said, "That is your baby."
Whatever happened to Dr. Ernest Palmer? He's still in Wauchula. He's still practicing family medicine just a few miles away from where the baby switch happened. And 15 years later, he's still not talking. But the attorneys for both families are.
You know, I've always felt that this was an accidental switch, and I'm not sure it wasn't still.
Maybe there's a code of silence here that's been broken, and other people will come forward with their story now.
Then again, maybe they won't. If Webb is right, at least 6 people she says knew of the switch could face criminal charges. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Wauchula, Florida.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, how many Americans are saving big bucks on air travel even during the holidays. An Eye on America tonight, cutting back on charity and compassion in a crackdown on the homeless.
Salad Shooter helps you every day.
How about some cheese for your pizza or perfect salad shooter hash browns for breakfast, vegetables sliced or shredded, and nothing tops a salad like Salad Shooter.
Point and shoot to help you every day.
Presto Salad Shooter electric slicer shredder. So you can fill an omelet, slice a beet, make a soup, top a treat. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, stores anywhere.
Salad Shooter helps you every day.
Original and professional Salad Shooter.
Wilford Brimley for Quaker Toasted Oatmeal.
You with cold cereal?
Yes, ma'am.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal.
Quaker oatmeal flakes, touch of brown sugar, good as all get out.
Well, they sure like it.
Why not? Green's the Quaker oatmeal on every oatmeal flake. That's oatmeal on top of oatmeal. Same good stuff as the hot.
So, they can do it cold.
And still do it right.
Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, original and honey nut.
It's my other oatmeal.
Mine, too.
On this eve of Thanksgiving, the road to grandmother's house is covered with snow in the Rockies and the Midwest. South Dakota is getting the worst of it, nearly a foot of snow in Aberdeen. Police there told would-be travelers, don't be foolish, stay home. In Salt Lake City, the snow was lighter, but the traffic a lot heavier. And Denver tonight is a mile high, 4 inches deep, and bumper to bumper. The outlook for air travelers tonight is improving with flight attendants for American Airlines back on the job. And the long-range forecast is for lower fares but more labor trouble. CBS News economics correspondent Ray Brady explains why.
Thank you for
It was weather, not labor, that was causing problems at some of the nation's airports. But at certain ticket counters, passengers were all smiles. Not only were their flights on time, their fares were cheap, cheap, cheap. Peanut fares, some call them.
We saved at least $60 per ticket.
Flying today, I saved $400 by purchasing the ticket the same day of my flight.
They're upstarts in the sky. No-frills, low-cost airlines like Kiwi, Morris, and Southwest. Usually non-union, they fly just a few routes at bargain prices. They're grabbing business away from giants like American, Delta, and United. And that's what's causing turmoil at the airports. The giants say they can compete only by cutting their own costs, a move that could set off more strikes and work stoppages.
Well, the fares generally are around 30%, perhaps as much as 50% below the established carriers.
Especially if you're flexible about your destination. A family of 4 on a giant, Chicago to Cincinnati, $1,048. But Chicago to nearby Louisville, same family on a no-frills carrier, $156.
With that kind of savings, we can probably just go out and get ourselves a limo, a bottle of champagne, and we can party all the way up to Cincinnati for that kind of savings.
Some of the giants now want to start their own no-frills lines to match the competition.
If they don't do that by the end of the decade, many of them will have to consolidate among themselves or may not even be around.
So consumers may benefit from lower ticket prices, but as the giants keep cutting their costs, all predictions are that travelers will encounter a lot more strikes and work stoppages at airports in the new year. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
This is not a happy holiday for workers at Philip Morris. The word came down today that the food and tobacco company is snuffing out 14,000 jobs over the next 3 years. Like so many other big companies, Philip Morris is trying to cut costs and boost profits. The cost of mortgages is heading up after falling to a 25-year low last month. Rates have been steadily rising. The government reported today that the average rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is now 7.3%, the highest rate in 5 months. Stay with us for much more CBS Evening News, including an exercise in democracy in a country still learning how to play the game.
State finals coming up. A lot of pressure to win. I don't eat right, I get irregular, so I don't project a winning attitude, and the boys see that. I tried some natural bulk fiber, but I couldn't take all that grit. Then I discovered smooth texture Metamucil. No grit in the mix or the taste. Easy to get the extra fiber I need every day to stay regular. You got a winning attitude, you win, if you're lucky.
Smooth texture Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
The new Accord EX Coupe. There's more horsepower. Handling and comfort are perfectly balanced. It has dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. We've taken it about as far as you can go. The new Accord EX Coupe from Honda.
How fast does Ambisol start to relieve toothache pain? Before you can say Ambisol. Canker sore pain? Before you can say
Ambisol.
Relieve minor mouth pain on contact with Ambisol in regular or maximum strength.
You can't breathe. Your sinuses are blocked. Last time you got a doctor's prescription. This time he told you to get Tavis D, the same full-strength medicine without a prescription.
Good morning.
Tavis D, 1 tablet, 12 hours, no prescription.
A deadly train crash. One rescuer emerged a hero. Another was unknown until now. What makes a hero? 48 hours tonight.
President Clinton asked Congress today to approve a global treaty to ban chemical weapons. The pact, negotiated under President Bush, would require destroying stockpiles of poison gas. Meanwhile, the Pentagon reports that chemical weapons material may be buried at more than 200 sites around the United States. French coal miners staged a violent protest today against government plans to cut production and eliminate hundreds of jobs. 45 police and several demonstrators were hurt when the miners attacked government buildings. France now generates most of its energy from nuclear power and imported coal. UN food convoys have reached besieged towns in Bosnia for the first time in a month. At least for today, the ethnic armies kept their promise not to block relief trucks. Meanwhile, Sarajevo got some heavy-duty help to get through the winter, a generator to provide power for the city's main hospital. In Russia, Moscow's White House is still scarred by the cannon fire that helped Boris Yeltsin dissolve the parliament back in September. But the government is going ahead with elections for a new parliament December 12th. Moscow correspondent Cindy Kennard reports that in some ways it feels like a Western-style campaign.
They are off, registered and running for parliament in Russia's latest attempt at democracy. The country has never seen anything like it. More than 1,000 candidates, 13 political parties, and so little time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You start your primaries 1 year in advance. We had only 4 weeks.
Russians won't see the candidates in the neighborhood going door to door. Those on the ballot don't have enough time to hike through 11 time zones. Instead, they're traveling by television and saturating prime time with free infomercials, each party allowed to make its case. Pitches range from a pro-Yeltsin rock concert to a candidate in a corridor. A popular theme, last month's rebellion, each party claiming, if elected, it can't happen again.
We need even more than the other countries just now, balanced power. That's two different points of view on the same subject.
Russians admit they're still learning this political game.
We're going to do a model for campaigning.
And U.S. tax dollars are teaching, with money for this political consultant training Russia's first women's party, paying for this televised explanation of the ballot. In Moscow, it's 5 pages, including Boris Yeltsin's proposed constitution, almost as confusing as the election results could be.
The government is in for a few surprises, come December 13th. Because the opposition will be there.
The latest voter survey suggests the Communist Party near the head of the pack, but 50% of the electorate is still undecided and may just elect to stay home. Cindy Kennard, CBS News, Moscow.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News. After NAFTA, gearing up for the next big fight over health care reform.
A whole other kind of chip. Presto Chip Shot Potato Chipper. Slices so thin they gotta be crisp. Regular or ripple. Fry them up. Even microwave for a light, no-fat chip. Flavor them the way you like. From Presto.
It's a kick. You got your vitamin A, your vitamin C. I like it because it has those beta-carotenes in it. What's that word? Beta-carotenes.
It's zippy kind of thing, a zippy thing.
Hello.
So, what'd you think of that Bonneville? Did you drive it?
Oh, that SSCI is terrific.
Yeah.
Supercharged, traction control, ABS, dual airbags, leather. What a car.
I told you.
And you were right. It's thousands less than the BMW or the Lexus.
Well?
I'm picking it up tomorrow. I owe you one, pal.
Okay. I'll take a white one.
2 a.m., 36 Pine Street. Apartment 4C has a backache and can't sleep. 3C overdid her afternoon workout and is paying the price. 2C had an aching back, but fortunately she also has Tylenol PM gel caps with extra strength Tylenol pain reliever, plus a gentle ingredient to help her sleep. And a good night's sleep was all she needed to make her day a whole lot brighter. Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
We will talk with families who have endured disaster this year.
Plus, mastering middle age with your children.
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, Breakfast for Your Head.
Author Salman Rushdie came out of hiding again today, this time turning up at the White House for a meeting with President Clinton. Rushdie has been living undercover and with heavy security since 1989. That's when Iran put him under a death sentence because of his writings. Rushdie said he was touched and impressed by his meeting with Mr. Clinton.
What I was struck with was the degree of personal friendship and warmth that came from the president, and in a way that's more important than all the fine words and high principles.
Because of Rushdie's visit to this country, American tourists overseas are being warned by U.S. embassies to stay alert for possible retaliation by terrorists. Besides meeting Rushdie, President and Mrs. Clinton spent part of the day at an inner-city church. The Clintons chopped vegetables and helped out with other preparations for a Thanksgiving dinner that will be served to the homeless. Meantime, the Clintons are also getting ready to serve up another full helping of their version of health care reform to the whole country. Correspondent Linda Douglas has that story.
Once again, the White House is trying to shift its focus to health care, gearing up for a battle that may make the NAFTA fight look tame. Over the next few weeks, America will see the First Lady in hospital rooms and at lecterns, while groups around the country will be invited to watch a slick 16-minute video which outlines the need for health reform.
When you're uninsured, you live every day scared to death.
Paid for by the Democratic Party, the video gives a soothing description of the Clinton plan, punctuated by a presidential sales pitch.
So our plan offers this ironclad guarantee. If you don't currently have health insurance, you will. And if you do, it can never be taken away.
According to the latest CBS News New York Times poll, few Americans understand the Clinton health plan. This weekend, cabinet members will fan out across the country to try to explain it, armed with stacks of these pamphlets which acknowledge Americans have strong doubts about the plan. Another Democratic Party document helps senators answer commonly asked questions like, will I be able to choose my own doctor? Answer, yes.
They're real concerned about whether they have choice or not of their doctors and hospitals. Those are some of the myths perpetrated by the misinformation campaign that I think we've got to clear up.
But while the Democratic Party machine works at full throttle, Republicans this weekend will launch a counterattack, charging the Clinton plan is top-heavy with bureaucracy.
I'm going to work very hard against this plan because I don't want the government to take over and run the health care system. When my mama gets sick, I wanted to see a doctor and not a bureaucrat.
So much for the warm and fuzzy bipartisanship of NAFTA, where the White House worked hand in hand with Republican leaders. In early December, the Republican Party will hold town meetings in 27 states to denounce the Clinton health plan. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
I own this rig. I expect my money to work as hard as her. I have a Dreyfus mutual fund, so I'm in a lot of different stocks and bonds. Every day, Dreyfus may change what's in the fund, what's not. I mean, they're pros. They're always looking down the road. Dreyfus mutual funds. I feel there's more opportunity than putting your money under a mattress. I mean, is there any room for growth under a mattress?
How do you give low-saturated fat oils like canola a different taste? Add corn oil.
Only Mazola Right Blend blends the leading corn oil with canola oil, so there's 1 gram of saturated fat per serving.
It's a low-saturated fat oil that tastes great.
For sautéing, tossing, or baking, use Mazola Right Blend and blend good taste into your healthy cooking. From Mazola.
Continuous improvement through sweeping change. It's how Cadillac is creating a higher standard with America's favorite luxury sedan, the 1994 Cadillac DeVille. Completely redesigned with more than 100 newly refined features, each created to keep the driving experience as rewarding as possible. There was, however, one feature that didn't change: the sticker price. The all-new Cadillac DeVille, creating a higher standard.
Norelco says don't shave your legs, baby them. With Norelco's incredibly close, comfortable shave that leaves you baby smooth, baby soft. Norelco Lady Shave Razors, dry or wet, we make close comfortable.
For sinus pain and pressure relief, take Tristan Sinus. It contains ibuprofen with 40 million prescriptions, but combined in non-prescription strength with the decongestant doctors recommend most. Tristan Sinus with 2 doctor-recommended medicines.
Advocates for the homeless took to the streets of several California cities today. They are protesting a campaign by the mayor of San Francisco to crack down on the homeless, and they filed a civil rights suit in federal court to try to stop the mayor. Correspondent John Blackstone reports on the new hard line against the homeless in tonight's Eye on America.
Ladies and gentlemen, San Francisco's homeless are getting an unexpected wake-up call. The lobby is now closed. Please leave. The city is using muscle to move those it cannot help.
Walk all the way back.
Charity has not worked for many who call themselves homeless.
Care for some bagels?
Now it's against the law in San Francisco even to feed the homeless without a permit.
Homelessness is not a crime. It's not a crime to be out there looking like an unmade bed.
But San Francisco's mayor, Frank Jordan, says the city is cracking down on street people who do break the law.
Trespassing, obstructing, intimidating, aggressively panhandling, urinating, and defecating on our streets and parks.
All I know is that they're cutting down on places to go.
City officials say homelessness is not the real problem. They cite studies that show that as many as 85% of the homeless are not just down on their luck. They are drug and alcohol abusers and the mentally ill who need help.
This city is compassionate. This city has put its money where its mouth is. $46 million.
But the city says many don't want detox programs and halfway houses. Those who choose life on the streets and those who feed them.
Madam Supervisor, would you care to observe this, please?
Are finding city cops in their face.
Excuse me, why are you guys arresting this guy?
The mayor's main political opponent, Supervisor Angela Alioto, is fighting the police crackdown.
By this afternoon, I will make sure he is out of jail and that we have somehow condemned this administration for what I call fascism in the city of San Francisco in 1920.
But many say the crackdown is just what the city needs. Florist Harold Hugasian, who grew up selling flowers on the streets of San Francisco, says kindness hasn't worked.
You've got to do some things that aren't all lovey, cushy, gushy to combat the problem. Because believe me, lovey, cushy, gushy just doesn't do it.
Hugasian says the city has to get tough to save the streets for everyone.
It makes you feel lousy to see people dirty and panhandling.
And to see that on the streets of this city that you've known for so long?
Shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be here.
With police watching so closely, those who live on the streets have made some adjustments. Richard figured if you can't beat the cleanup, join it. Now he sweeps the streets himself and gets more handouts than ever. Would you be interested in a real job?
No, I got enough work doing this.
Even with the aggressive policing, the sights of San Francisco still include plenty of street people. The problem is far from solved. But other cities, increasingly frustrated with the problem, time to wake up, may join San Francisco in handling the homeless with less charity and more muscle. In San Francisco, this is John Blackstone for Eye on America.
And that's our news. Dan will be along later tonight with 48 Hours. You'll meet ordinary Americans with extraordinary courage. 48 Hours on Hero Street, tonight at 10, 9 Central Time. I'm Connie Chung. For Dan and all of us at CBS News, have a good weekend, happy Thanksgiving, and good night.
Experience CBS News. Eye on America. In-depth daily reports on family, on education, Eye on crime, on the community, and on the environment. Eye on America. Only on the CBS Evening News.
This is CBS.
Police search an international jet for a key witness in the Michael Jackson investigation. Plus, Home Improvement's Tim Allen, his less than perfect past on Hard Copy next.
As kids, they walked, talked, and dressed alike, but now they want to shatter the mirror image.
I feel so stupid walking around with her. And, you know, everybody's looking at us.
Twin makeovers. New York, you haven't seen it till you see it on Geraldo. Tomorrow at 4.
When it comes to money,
men think they know it all.
Now find out who really has a better sense for dollars. Money mistakes men make. Saturday at 11.
Ernie Anastas, Dana Tyler, and the Channel 2 News reporters. They keep you in touch with the night to keep you out of the dark. Channel 2 News at 11.
Tonight on Hard Copy.
Michael Jackson.
The state that any patient is in is one of loneliness.